The grand arena of the Galactic Council fell silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence that comes with reverence or respect, no. This was the uncomfortable, throat-clearing, stomach-churning silence that precedes either spectacular triumph or catastrophic disaster. Commander Vax'thor stood at the center of the crystalline platform, his forearms crossed in what his species considered the ultimate display of confidence. The six-eyed Quellaran had spent 17 cycles preparing for this moment. 17 cycles. His beast, the legendary Krath'nax, had torn through the ranks of every challenger across 12 star systems. This creature was death incarnate, a biological weapon so fierce that 3 planets had banned its very image from public viewing, and now, here he was, facing a human, just one human, the human in question, a fellow named Marcus Webb, stood on the opposite platform wearing what could only be described as the most ridiculous outfit Vax'thor had ever witnessed. Comfortable fabric pants in a blue color, some kind of thin upper garment with symbols on it, and footwear that looked designed for leisure rather than combat. The human was even smiling. Smiling. As if this was some kind of social gathering rather than a battle that would determine the fate of 3 contested systems. Is your creature ready, Commander? The Arbiter's voice echoed through the arena, translated into 17,000 languages simultaneously. Vax'thor's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. My Krath'nax has been ready since before your ancestors learned to count, Arbiter. Release the barriers. The energy fields separating the combat zone flickered and died. Vax'thor pressed the control mechanism, and the containment chamber behind him began to open. The sound alone was enough to make several dozen spectators in the lower sections evacuate their seating areas. Smart beings, those ones. What emerged was not so much a creature, as it was a concentrated nightmare given physical form. The Krath'nax stood 12 feet tall at its shoulder ridges, with 6 powerful legs ending in claws that could shred battle armor like tissue paper. Its head, if you could call it that, resembled something between a wolf and something worse. Much worse. Rows of teeth lined its multiple jaws, each tooth capable of injecting venom that caused paralysis, hallucinations, and according to some reports, an overwhelming sense of existential dread. The beast's scales shifted from deep purple to blood red as it surveyed its surroundings, steam billowing from its nostrils. A low growl emanated from its throat that registered on seismic equipment 3 levels below the arena. Perfect. Vax'thor pointed one of his upper arms toward Marcus Webb. Krath'nax. Destroy. The beast charged. Now, in the moments that followed, Vax'thor expected several things to happen. Screaming, definitely. Running, probably. Perhaps some attempt at deploying a weapon or activating a defense shield. What he absolutely did not expect was for Marcus Webb to drop into a crouch, spread his arms wide, and make a sound that can only be transcribed as PSPSPSPSPS. The Krath'nax, apex predator of the Dorvian wastelands, terror of the outer colonies, stopped so abruptly that its back legs skidded on the arena floor. Who's a fierce beast? Who is it? Is it you? Marcus's voice had taken on a pitch that Vax'thor's translator struggled to classify. It wasn't battle language. It wasn't even standard communication. It was something else entirely. The Krath'nax tilted its massive head. Come here, buddy. Come on. What happened next would be discussed in xenobiology departments for the next century. The Krath'nax, trained from hatching to kill without hesitation, walked slowly toward the human. Not stalking. Not preparing to strike. Just walking, like it was curious about something. Vax'thor's confidence began developing cracks. Krath'nax. I gave you a command. The beast completely ignored him. Marcus remained in his crouch, now making clicking sounds with his tongue. The Krath'nax approached to within 5 feet, 4 feet, 3 feet, and then it did something that caused half the arena to gasp in unison. It sat down, all 6 legs folded beneath its massive bulk, and it sat there, staring at Marcus Webb with what could only be described as interest. Good boy. Yes you are. Oh, you're just a big scary baby, aren't you? Marcus reached out slowly, and Vax'thor's hearts collectively skipped several beats. This was it. This was where the human would lose his hand, then his arm, then his life. Marcus's hand made contact with the Krath'nax's snout, the Krath'nax's eyes, all 8 of them, closed partially. A sound emerged from deep within its chest. A rumbling, rhythmic sound. It was purring. No. Vax'thor's voice came out as a whisper. That's not possible. That sound only happens when they're successfully digesting prey. Seems pretty content to me, called out a voice from the spectator section. Scattered laughter followed. Marcus had now moved both hands to the creature's head, scratching behind what might generously be called its ears. The Krath'nax leaned into the touch, its tail, a muscular appendage tipped with venomous spikes, wagging back and forth like some kind of domesticated pet. Attack him. Vax'thor's voice had reached a pitch that his species typically reserved for mating calls or extreme distress. Bite. Claw. Inject venom. Do something. Marcus looked up at the commander, still scratching the beast's head. Hey, maybe try asking nicely. I don't think he responds well to yelling. His designation is Krath'nax, destroyer of hope, render of flesh, the walking nightmare. Yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful. I'm thinking Kevin. He looks like a Kevin. The arena erupted in laughter. The Krath'nax, apparently approving of its new name, rolled onto its side with a ground-shaking thump. Oh, you want belly rubs? Is that what this is about? Marcus moved closer, kneeling beside the creature that could easily have swallowed him whole. His hands found the beast's underbelly, an area covered in slightly softer scales that no warrior had ever survived long enough to see. The purring intensified. Vax'thor felt his world collapsing. This couldn't be happening. This wasn't how the universe worked. He had studied the art of beast mastery for 40 cycles. He had bonded with Krath'nax from the moment it hatched. He had fed it, trained it, shaped it into the perfect weapon. And now, after 17 seconds of exposure to a human, the creature was acting like some kind of oversized, overly affectionate companion animal. Arbiter. Vax'thor's voice cracked. This is clearly some form of human trickery. They must have deployed a chemical agent, or a psionic manipulator or something. The Arbiter, a floating sphere of pure energy housed in a containment field, rotated to observe the scene. Scanners indicate no foreign substances, no psionic activity, and no technological interference. The human appears to be using only physical contact. That's impossible. Yet there it is. The Arbiter sounded almost amused. As much as an ancient energy being could sound amused, anyway, Marcus had now moved to scratching the Krath'nax's chest, which caused one of the beast's rear legs to kick rhythmically. You like that, Kevin? Yeah, you do. Who's a good eldritch horror? You are. The spectators were openly laughing now. Vax'thor could see his reputation, his career, his entire life's work crumbling before his eyes. And the worst part, the absolute worst part, was that the Krath'nax looked happier than it had ever been under his care. Commander Vax'thor. The Arbiter's voice cut through the chaos. Do you wish to withdraw your challenge? Withdraw. Admit defeat. Accept that a human had somehow done in seconds what he couldn't do in cycles. Every fiber of his being screamed no, but the Krath'nax had now rolled completely onto its back, exposing its vulnerable underside to Marcus Webb, while making sounds that definitely should not come from a species-classified apex predator. I demand a rematch. Vax'thor's mandibles clicked frantically. With a different beast. This one is clearly defective. Defective? Marcus looked genuinely offended. Kevin isn't defective. He's perfect. Aren't you, buddy? The Krath'nax responded by attempting to lick Marcus's face, which, given the size difference, resulted in coating the human's entire upper body in saliva. Okay. Easy boy. That's a lot of affection. Marcus laughed, trying to wipe the viscous fluid from his face. The Arbiter rotated again. Commander Vax'thor, the rules are clear. You brought your most vicious creature. The human has clearly neutralized the threat without violence. The contested systems will be transferred to human jurisdiction. This is outrageous. This is concluded. 3 solar hours later, Vax'thor found himself in the most humiliating position of his entire military career. He was sitting in a neutral zone conference room, watching through a transparent wall as Marcus Webb played fetch with the Krath'nax. Fetch. The beast was actually retrieving a reinforced titanium sphere and bringing it back, dropping it at the human's feet, then waiting with what could only be described as eager anticipation for the next throw. Ambassador Lyra Kess, a humanoid from the Peridian cluster, sat across from Vax'thor with barely concealed amusement. Her diplomatic training was clearly being tested as she tried to maintain a professional demeanor. So, Commander, I have to admit, I'm curious. She leaned forward, steepling her fingers. In all your cycles of training with the Krath'nax, did you ever just try being nice to it? Vax'thor's forearms twitched with irritation. Being nice. It's a weapon. You don't develop weapons with kindness. Apparently humans disagree. Lyra gestured toward the observation window where Marcus was now teaching Kevin to sit on command. The massive predator was following instructions with the enthusiasm of a newly trained cadet. Tell me, did you ever consider that maybe, just maybe, the creature didn't want to be a weapon? It's not about what it wants. It's about what it was bred to do. Right? Lyra made a notation on her data pad. And how's that working out for you? Before Vax'thor could formulate a response that wouldn't end his diplomatic career on top of his military one, the conference room door slid open. In walked 3 more humans, and Vax'thor's remaining hope died a quiet death. The first was an older human female with grey streaks in her hair and eyes that suggested she'd seen things that would make most species reconsider their life choices. The second was a younger male carrying what appeared to be some kind of recording device. The third was a female with bright markings around her eyes and carrying a container that smelled distinctly of preserved organic matter. Commander Vax'thor, I presume. The older woman extended her hand in the bizarre human greeting ritual. Dr. Helena Vasquez, head of the Interspecies Animal Behavior Institute. This is my assistant Trevor Kim, and our nutritionist specialist Zara Okonkwo. Vax'thor reluctantly touched her hand with one of his lower appendages. You're here to gloat, I suppose. Gloat? Oh goodness no. Helena actually laughed. We're here to help. See, Marcus out there, he's just naturally gifted with animals. Always has been. But what he did today, that's actually created a bit of a diplomatic incident. A bit? Vax'thor's mandibles clicked sharply. Try a complete and total humiliation broadcast across 12 systems. Well, yes, there's that. Trevor adjusted his recording device, clearly capturing this conversation for posterity. But more importantly, you've just demonstrated something we've suspected for years. Galactic beast mastery programs are fundamentally flawed. Excuse me. Zara set her container on the table and opened it, revealing what looked like compressed protein cubes mixed with various supplements. Tell me, Commander, what exactly were you feeding the Krath'nax? Standard military rations. High protein, nutrient-dense, designed for optimal physical performance. Designed for optimal physical performance, Zara repeated slowly. And did you ever ask if the Krath'nax liked them? Liked them? It's sustenance, not entertainment. Helena pulled out her data pad and projected a holographic display. Let me show you something interesting. These are brain scans of Kevin, that's what we're calling him now, taken over the past 3 hours. These areas here, the ones lighting up. Those are pleasure centers, social bonding indicators, and reward pathways. They are more active now than they've probably been in his entire life. Vax'thor stared at the scans. That's impossible. I provided everything necessary for survival. Survival, yes. But not living. Helena swiped through several more images. Tell me, did the Krath'nax ever have playtime? Social interaction, not centered around combat training. Environmental enrichment. It had combat simulations. Fighting is its nature. Fighting is a survival skill, Trevor interjected, finally looking up from his device. It's not necessarily a preferred activity. Did you know that on Earth, we have creatures called wolves? Apex predators, pack hunters, can take down prey 3 times their size. Know what they spend most of their time doing? Killing. Napping. Playing with their pack members. Raising young. The hunting is just what they do to survive, not their entire existence. Outside the window, Marcus had apparently tired Kevin out. The massive creature was now lying on its side while the human sat against its flank, casually scrolling through his own data pad, as if he were lounging against any normal piece of furniture. Kevin's multiple eyes were half closed in contentment, and occasionally the beast would nuzzle closer to its new human friend. This is absurd, Vax'thor muttered, but his conviction was wavering. Everything I've learned, everything I was taught about beast mastery, it can't all be wrong. Not wrong, exactly. Helena's voice softened. Just incomplete. You see, Commander, humans have been domesticating and bonding with creatures for thousands of years. We've learned something important along the way. Fear and force might create obedience, but kindness and understanding create loyalty. Real loyalty, not just conditioned responses. Zara pushed the container of food across the table. These are treats we've developed. Nutritionally complete, but also designed for taste and texture variety. Want to try offering one to Kevin? He won't even respond to me anymore. He's bonded with the human. Maybe, Helena said. Or maybe he's just never had a reason to associate you with anything positive. Let's try an experiment. 10 minutes later, Vax'thor found himself standing nervously in the play area, while Marcus looked on with encouraging nods. Kevin, the Krath'nax, former terror of the outer colonies, was watching the commander with what might have been curiosity rather than the usual wary aggression. Just hold out the treat, Marcus instructed. Keep your body language relaxed. No sudden movements. If he bites my arm off, human, I'm holding you personally responsible. He's not going to bite your arm off. Are you, Kevin? No, you're not, because you're a good boy. Vax'thor extended his upper right arm, the treat balanced in his palm. His 3 hearts were beating patterns that would have registered on medical equipment as either extreme stress or a minor cardiac event. Kevin sniffed the air. Then, slowly, deliberately, the massive creature stood and walked toward Vax'thor. Each step felt like an eternity. The beast's 8 eyes locked onto the commander, and for a moment, Vax'thor was certain this was it. This was how he would die, mauled by his own creature, in front of an audience of humans, who would probably narrate the entire event with commentary about how he should have tried speaking more softly. Kevin's massive head lowered to Vax'thor's hand. A long, textured tongue emerged and carefully, almost gently, took the treat. The creature stepped back, consumed the food, and then did something that made Vax'thor's mandibles fall open in shock. Kevin sat down and waited for another. "Well, I'll be," Marcus said, grinning. "Looks like you two might work things out after all." Over the next hour, under the guidance of the human team, Vax'thor learned more about his own creature than he had in cycles of ownership. He learned that Kevin liked having the ridge above his eyes scratched. He learned that the beast responded better to calm vocal tones than shouted commands. He learned that when Kevin tilted his head to the left, he was confused, and when he tilted it to the right, he was interested. Most importantly, he learned that the creature he'd treated as nothing more than a biological weapon was actually intelligent, emotional, and capable of forming genuine bonds. "I've been doing this all wrong," Vax'thor finally admitted, sitting on the floor while Kevin dozed with his massive head resting across the commander's lower legs. "4 cycles, I've been doing everything wrong." Helena sat down nearby. "Not wrong. You did what you were taught. But now you have a chance to do better. We'd like to offer you a position in our program. Help us teach other species about proper animal care and bonding. Share what you've learned today." "Why would you want me? I'm the one who failed spectacularly on a galactic stage." "Exactly." Trevor was still recording, naturally. "You're proof that anyone can change their approach. Plus, you clearly care about Kevin, even if you were showing it in all the wrong ways. That matters." Marcus stood and stretched. "Besides, someone's going to need to help Kevin transition back to living with you. I can't keep him. I've already got 3 rescue Thoraxians and a glimmer serpent back home." "3? And a glimmer serpent?" Vax'thor's mind reeled. "How are you still alive?" "Belly rubs, mostly. Works on about 90% of species I've met." Ambassador Lyra appeared at the doorway, her expression a mixture of professional satisfaction and personal amusement. "Well, Commander, the Council has made their decision. The contested systems will be transferred as agreed, but in recognition of your willingness to learn and adapt, your military commission will be preserved. You'll be reassigned to the Joint Human Galactic Animal Welfare Initiative. I went from commanding fleets to playing caretaker. You went from losing battles to potentially saving thousands of creatures from inadequate care," Helena corrected. "I'd call that a promotion in everything that actually matters." Kevin stirred, lifting his massive head to look at Vax'thor. The creature's eyes, which the commander had only ever seen filled with either hunger or aggression, were soft. Trusting. "All right," Vax'thor said quietly. Teach me. Teach me everything I should have known all along." Marcus knelt down and scratched Kevin behind his ear ridge. "Lesson 1, give him a real name." "Kevin is good, but what would you call him?" Vax'thor considered for a moment. "In my language, there's a word. Ryxl. It means steadfast companion. Ryxl." Marcus tested the word. "I like it. What do you think, buddy? Is that a good name?" The creature that had once been the dreaded Krath'nax, destroyer of hope, responded by rolling onto his back and exposing his belly to both the human and his original master, and Vax'thor, for the first time in his entire military career, smiled. 3 months later, footage would circulate across the galactic net showing Commander Vax'thor and Marcus Webb teaching an interspecies seminar on proper beast care. Enrollment would break records. Military Beastmaster programs across 17 systems would begin implementing major reforms. And somewhere in all the chaos and change, the universe learned a very human lesson. Sometimes the strongest bond isn't forged through fear and domination, but through something as simple as a belly rub, and treating another living being with basic kindness. Who knew? Well, the humans did. They'd been trying to tell everyone for years.